Welcome back to another edition of Strengthening Oklahoma. And this edition of Strengthening Oklahoma is brought to you by Pub W. Whether it is brunch, lunch, happy hour, or dinner, Pub W has it all. Visit pubdub.com to find a location near you. Sooners off to a 2-0 start, and one of the real stars here early on the season. No surprise to us. He's been a star all season with us here at Strengthening Oklahoma. A fan favorite and one of our favorites, the senior, Mr. Brayden Willis, joins us today. Brayden, what's up, man? How we doing?
Good. How are y'all?
Fantastic and improving. Fantastic and improving. Just week 2 in the books, man. How does it feel to get this season off and running? We haven't had a chance to talk to you after the UTEP game, first night game with the new lights. Just kind of give me a self-assessment, and then also kind of where you think the team's at 2 weeks in.
Yeah, man, it feels good. 2-0 is always getting the season started off right is always good. Like Coach says, before you go 12-0, you got to win 2 games. So, we're extremely happy with the way we started the season. That doesn't mean that we don't have a lot to work on, and that doesn't mean that we're not focusing on those details. But like I said, we celebrate wins around here because winning in college football is hard. You see, all the upsets and different games around the nation, and you really just don't understand how hard it is to get wins at this level. So, but I mean, in terms of, the atmosphere the other night, man, that was really nice. I enjoyed it. I mean, I thought it was pretty cool, and they mixed it up and they had different like light shows, and I thought it was really cool, man. So I thought that was a nice little addition. And as we transition to go to the SEC and get the fans more interactive, I think it would be a nice little piece for us and helping the team win, because we already have since I think it's 2000 the best home field winning percentage. So I think it'll just add on to that.
So I do want to talk about the Kent State game, clearly with that being the most recent one since the last time we had you on. But man, we got to talk about UTEP a little bit because you balled out, man. Couple touchdowns, couple lead blocks leading to touchdowns. Just how good did it feel for you to put all the work you've put in the off season and then go out in the opener and have that type of performance?
Oh, no doubt. It felt great, man. All glory to God first and foremost, but it just felt good to be able to, contribute to my team in a multitude of ways, like not even only the touchdowns, but as y'all know, I take pride in the blocking as well, like the dirty work that we talked about a few episodes ago. And so it just felt good to get out there and really just get out there and play with my guys. It's been a long process. It's been a long 8 months since we started this, process back in January. And it just felt good to get out there with my guys against someone else. We've been practicing against each other for literally like the whole year and haven't been able to tee off against someone else. So I think that energy kind of carried over for me into the game, and it felt good, man. And I just am very appreciative of, all the people that were pushing me in the facility, coaches, teammates alike, and allowing me to, or giving me the opportunity to be able to do stuff like that. So it was definitely special.
You've had a great start to the season, in particular the UTEP game, like Gabe mentioned, 2 tutties, great blocks all over the field. Be real with me. You embrace finding the end zone or helping someone find the end zone more?
I think it's a little sweeter when you help someone find the end zone. Like when you have extreme effort and, what I'm saying, like it might sound like kind of weird to most people because most people be like, why wouldn't you say a touchdown? And touchdowns are cool, but they come and, what I'm saying, like as you get older, I think you start maturing as a football player and you realize touchdowns come a dime a dozen and the real money to be made is out there blocking. And it's just overall fun. Like if you can be unselfish and that's fun to you, it just makes it a little bit more, it makes it a little bit sweeter. So like the blocks that I had like on the goal line or the one to spring Gavin free, man, especially for a young guy like that, that it means so much to him in his first home game ever, first home game ever. I think it makes it a little bit sweeter to, spring someone free with the block.
How many people have asked you about that play? Because clearly, awesome moment for Gavin. He's an Oklahoma City guy. His first touch in college football. I mean, he goes and does that. But the best part of that play for a lot of people is the effort that you displayed on that play. How many dudes did you block? 1, 2, 3. Was it 4? Did you get 4 of them?
I think it was 3. I did.
I feel like the last guy you pushed got you. It affected a 4th. I'm going to give you 4, man.
I did. I tried to push the guy. So the going into that play, my job was to block the most dangerous, right? Arc block the most dangerous. Block the most dangerous. I felt like the guy that was running had an angle on him to like maybe dive and make a shoestring tackle. Didn't want to risk it. So I came off, hit him, got Gavin around the edge. And then there was like someone fell in front of me or something like that. So I had to jump over that. And then when I see him spin out the tackle, I'm like, oh, he could go, because I know how fast he is in his acceleration. So I'm like, okay, let me go get a block down the field. I'm running down the field to try to catch up to him. And the guy that has the angle, he definitely could have got him. But when I was looking at it, there was 2, they were kind of stacked on each other. I'm like, if I could push him, then I'm going to push him into that guy, and that would look even better. And so that's what I tried to do. But obviously he didn't. He got a little piece of him, but he didn't like tumble. I was trying to push him into like where they hit each other and like both fell. And I thought that would have been super cool. So, but I'm just super happy for the kid, man. And, with guys like that, when you got great guys on your team and you've built a connection all off season and the brotherhood is very tight, I think it's easy to play hard for guys, the guys on your team. So I think that's the biggest reason that all of us would, do stuff like that.
I love it, man. That's an awesome breakdown. And just, it was a great moment to start the season. Like you said, guy whose dad played at Oklahoma, his first time there, to get his first touch and take it to the house. That was cool. Real quickly, for people that don't know, it's easy lingo for Gabe and I, but one thing we want to really do with this, with Strengthening Oklahoma, is help educate fans. You made a very subtle and, for us, seemingly basic comment there. You said arc release. For the people at home that may not know, and maybe we can get a chance to show them that play as you broke it down. What is an arc release? And maybe something that a fan up in the stands can see that and go, oh, he just arc release. Explain to the people at home what you mean by that.
Okay, so there's 2 types of arc releases. There's a front side and like a backside, right? So on that play, as you are showing it, you can see that I'm on the backside and I'm coming around, and with the reverse that's coming with me, usually people can track stuff from the inside out. And so when I'm arcing, I'm scanning for most dangerous. So I'm coming around, I'm arcing, and I see that the linebacker's coming out of the box, right, trying to chase it down. And so essentially that's what it is. You're arcing around the whole everything, the box and everything. Or if you're on the front side, you're arcing out just to kind of give you a better leverage for people that are coming outside the box. So that's essentially what arc block is. But I guess I never thought about that. I just talk about football and, some people don't really, understand that. But yeah, we do a lot of that, type of stuff in our offense. I think it's cool. It gets you an open field versus the defender. And typically defenders really can't do much when you're an open field and you already kind of have leverage on them because your guy is kind of just behind you and you're like lead blocking. It's like a pulling guard kind of. So,
yeah, you're exactly like a pulling guard, big fella. That's exactly what I think of when I see you. So, a lot of positive stuff in the UTEP game. You mentioned the awesome environment there at night for Kent State, but first half, right, offensively, clearly not where you guys want it to be. As you were able to go back and look at the film, and I know you guys got to turn around in the second half, but what went wrong in the first half? Why was it such a slow start for the offense against Kent State?
I think it was a couple of things. First and foremost, they played that that 3-3-5, the robber, or people call it robber or bandit. For people that don't know what that is, that's a 3 safety look. And the third safety is in the middle of the field, and he's down a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage than the other 2 safeties that are playing the halves. So, and basically he's a run fitter. The tricky thing about that defense, is that they have a lot more run fitters than you think they have. You know, they have 3 down defensive linemen and they have 3 backers in the box. And you're like, okay, that's not that bad of a box. But everybody is crashing to the ball. Like the corners, you have cut corners in that defense, and you have a bandit that literally has no responsibility at first other than the key to run. Then he plays pass, you know. So I think that opening the game up against that defense, you kind of have to establish the run. And I think we were kind of stubborn in trying to establish the run a little bit. And we just weren't taking the hole shots that were given to us. And I think once we started taking the hole shots that were given to us, and I think they knew, you know, good game. I mean, all credit to them. They play hard, and their coaches are, you know, great coaches. You know, they had a game plan coming into this. They probably knew that we were going to try to establish the run game like we did the previous game. So knowing that, they made sure their guys were keying onto the run. And once we started finding them holes, you know, we started opening up the playbook, and we started, well, not opening up the playbook, but opening up the field, and started gashing them. But definitely a slow start. But like I said, that three safety defense is tricky, and it also is meant to keep everything in front of the defense. It's meant for everything to stay in front. They don't want you to get any long, deep shots on them, deep posts, go balls, everything like that. Keep everything in front of them, make you play, you know, run the ball, make you earn it, basically. So I think that's why I kind of started a little slow. And the best thing about our team, our offense and our team in general, is how close we are and how nobody panicked. You know, you could kind of hear the buzz in the stadium, like, oh man, this is Kent State, which is actually a good program. But, you know, nonetheless, you know, we heard the buzz, but everybody on the sideline stayed locked in, stayed focused, believed in the adjustments that we're making. And once this offense gets rolling, man, this is the most explosive offense I've been a part of. You know, like once we get rolling, we can roll. Like it's lethal. So, you know, not every game is going to be the same. Not every game you're going to start off like we did versus UTEP, you know. So I think that's the beauty about football.
Man, great breakdown of that defense. Iowa State's kind of made that defense, you know, famous and all over the place. Oklahoma, you guys run some of that defense.
We do.
Their safeties were flying downhill. To your point, you know, they were in the run fit. And I really thought, you know, once you guys soften them up a little bit, as you said, you know, push the ball down the field a little bit and really looked like you guys started working a little more outside, like one back power where Chris Murray get out in front. Y'all got to the edges a little bit more, and it started rolling. I'm curious, halftime, you're a vocal guy. By the way, I love what you said after the first game. I'll run through a wall for you, coach. You had goosebumps when I heard that. So I know that you're vocal. That's a part of your role in this team. What was said in the locker room, maybe even by you? What was the conversation? Because clearly that third quarter, to your point, you guys came out and showed just how explosive and dynamic this offense can be.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me going into halftime was just to motivate our guys, you know, and tell my guys to not stay or, you know, grow weary. You know, the run game wasn't particularly effective for us in the first half. You know, we had less than 50 yards rushing or something like that. And I don't want that to dawn on the guys, especially our O-line. Like, I went in there and I told them that, you know, we're going to get this run game started. Like, look what we did right before half. You know, we're going to open it up. We're going to balance it out a little bit. Just keep on going. Just keep on pushing. And then also just some motivating factors. You know, we were going to the locker room and the Kent State guys, you know, talking a little mess. So I don't know if everybody heard it. So I brought it up in the locker room, trying to motivate my guys. Just getting everybody ready to play, man. I think Coach Levy came in and Coach Venables came in and reiterated the same thing I did, and, you know, told us that we didn't play our best ball. And we talk about this all the time. You know, adversity is going to hit, and we talk about the Jocko thing, the good, you know, everything that, every adversity that comes to us, okay, good. What's next? So I think that we had a good mentality, next right mentality. And once we got back out there on the field, everybody was just ready to go. We knew the funny thing about football is stuff that doesn't work, it's usually off by something really, really small. Like one thing can change like the course of a whole game. And like people don't know that. People think that when there's a blowout, like, oh, they just dominated. No, usually it comes down to one or two drives that led to that blowout. So we knew that during those drives, we were maybe one block away from springing something, and that's all it takes. So just stay in the process and just motivating my guys to don't grow weary and let's keep on grinding it out and trusting the coaches, and it's all going to, work out for us.
So in that second half, you mentioned run game got going a little bit. Now all kind of opened up with you guys pushing the ball down the field. They had to make some decisions defensively, right? And the run game got going a little bit. Marcus Major, man, how did you feel bad for the guy that he made fall? Because I kind of felt bad for him, man. I mean, that guy's got a family, Brayden.
I was just getting ready to say that. I was going to say our running back 1-2 punch is very lethal. Both of those guys can make you look real silly in the open field, man. And that, I mean, I was blocking on a play. I saw the very tail end of it. I saw like him kind of high step out of it. I didn't see him make the guy miss like as badly as he did. So I didn't see it until I went and watched film on Sunday, and I was just sitting there like, oh my goodness. I watched the play like 20 different times. Like it was disgusting. I definitely feel bad for the guy because, like you said, he has a family. They're probably there. That's the worst feeling in the world. But like I said, our running back room, that 1-2 punch, man, is very nice. And I'm glad to, have those guys.
No question. That's the other part too. They made that initial defender miss more in the second half. Safeties were coming down there, making them miss. That one big run by Eric, he made the safety miss. I knew Marcus could run you over, and he's got pretty good speed. I did not know his lateral was like that because 2 different times making that jump cut and making folks look silly. I can't wait to see what's in store here moving forward. We were talking before we started this. You didn't come off the field against UTEP. You were able to get a little bit of a blow. I'm sure you love being on the field all the time, but Daniel Parker comes in, got a little bit more run. Was it nice to be able to just catch your breath a little bit here in this Kent State game?
Yeah, no doubt. It's good to have my guy back. That's my brother, and we're real close. And so it was good to have him back and just kind of my road dog, But the first 2 games, conditioning, and those 2 games weren't as tiring as games that I have experienced in the past, for say. Like I feel like if I would have took the same amount of reps that game as in like talking about UTEP, because I had to, a lot of reps UTEP. If I would have taken those same amount of reps and put it to a game versus like Texas, now that's a game where I'm going to need like the rep separation. Y'all know how that Texas game is. Y'all know how much energy and effort and the heat and just everything that goes into a game like that. So for those 2 games, it was nice to get out there, kind of get in a rhythm and, kind of feel stuff out. But I think it's going to be very crucial for us and myself down the road to have that rep separation because y'all know it's a long season. And I think the best teams are the teams that have depth and keep their guys a little bit more fresher than other teams throughout the year. I mean, the biggest thing is what people don't understand and what a lot of young guys don't understand is having depth to a room is a great thing because y'all keep each other fresh. A lot of guys just want to be the guy and that be it and take all the reps. Well, over the course of a season, your body starts to break down, especially if you play a position like ours. So having a guy to be able to separate the reps and take a little bit of that, wear and tear off of you, it's big. And people just don't, it's hard to understand, it was hard for me to understand as a young guy as well. Like, why do I got to split reps with him? Like, I don't really want to split reps with him, but it's definitely, as you get older, a beneficial factor in the game. So
you are old and wise, my friend, old and wise. And that's how it should be. I mean, you actually are old compared to the other guys on your team.
I'm very old.
But let's talk about Nebraska, man. An interesting situation, right? They fire Scott Frost. How are you making sure that you and your team still are laser focused, even though Nebraska, I mean, they're off to a bad start this season?
I mean, first off, like Coach says, nameless, faceless opponent. It doesn't matter who we're playing. We're trying to become the best team that we can be. And that means every week that we got to compete to a standard, So first it comes with practice. We got to practice really well. Tuesday and Wednesdays are our big days. We got to go out there and compete to a standard. And because we're not just trying to improve for this game, we're trying to improve for the next game and next game. And, like I said, trying to be the best team that we can be. So it's not really even more so about them. It's about us, Secondly, a team like that is actually a very dangerous team. It's like a soldier without a nation or a home, or however the saying goes. But, when you have nothing to lose, kind of, that makes a team very dangerous. And, more or less, we're going over to their stadium. Y'all know how it gets over there in Nebraska. They have loyal fans. They have great fans. It's going to be jumping. It's, it's going to be an early game. Like, we just have to be on our, P's and Q's. We have to dot all the I's and cross all the T's, because on any given day, anybody can be beat. And we saw that throughout college football, last weekend. So, and then the third thing is, this is a huge rivalry. This is a big deal. And, like, if you're not appreciative to play in a game like this, then, you shouldn't be on the field, because this is a big deal. And, this has been such a serious game. Like, conference championships have been decided off this. National championship games have been decided because of these games. So, just for the historical context, it should be taken seriously by our guys. So we're locked in, we're focused, and like we are for every game. And it's going to be a great atmosphere. I've never been up there. I've heard the stories, but I'm excited to go up there. And I think our team embraces, playing. I think I've said this before on air. Playing at home is cool. We love our fans. We love our fans. Playing at home is cool. But there's nothing better than going on the road and kicking someone's tail in their own stadium. That is the best feeling ever. I personally, that's my favorite thing about playing ball. I like playing on the road way more than I like playing at home. Like, you got to be a different kind of dog to go on the road and, take that mentality with you.
So much to unpack there. I want right now that talking emoji, that preaching emoji right now, like the little blue face with the speaking, because preach, Brayden Willis, preach. Everything you said is perfect, because that's the way the mindset should be. And I think you go on the road like a band of brothers. You really have, all you got is each other, and it's us against the world type of mentality. And there is something special about shutting up an 80, 90,000 hostile crowd whenever you go out there and you handle your business. And all those cheers, all that noise, it goes to silence. It's one of the most beautiful things you can have as a player. You started watching film on them. What have you seen from them defensively? O'Shawn Mathis, we know about him from TCU, the transfer at defensive end. They've also got Garrett Nelson. And if we're just being real, they struggled. I mean, they're 117th in the country against the run. They're giving up over 207 a game, and Georgia Southern carved them up for over 600. That's not to say they don't have good players. We know they do. What have they shown you so far on the tape?
Yeah, I think that it starts up top over there. And I think sometimes that they get a little undisciplined in the rules. And I think that's the main reason why they're getting carved up. You know, you play a certain coverage or you play a certain, front, you have to be keyed onto your rules that you have. And when you do, things outside of them or you slip or anything like that, like I said, this game is very fragile. One little mistake can turn into a whole, variety of things, and if you look at their games, they had a 2-touchdown lead or, against Northwestern in their first game, questionable onside kick. Now, Northwestern has the momentum. They come back and win that game. They win the second game. This game, against Georgia, a good Georgia Southern team, they're battling and they miss a field goal to win it. So, at the end of the day, we could talk about the defense and we could talk about, how they've struggled and everything. At the end of the day, they are super close to being a 3-0 team. And, we have to treat them as such. But as far as the defense goes, man, they got talented players. They got some big bruising defensive linemen, deep nose and tackle. They have long, kind of athletic defensive ends. This is probably the best linebacker core that we faced all year, and then they have a little size on the perimeter, play a little cover 4, a little cover 3, little halves, cover 2. So it's going to be a good challenge. I think the best thing about playing them is that we're going to know where they are. Unlike last week. Last week, they changed some stuff up on us mid-game, and that defense you can spin into a whole different variety of coverages and looks. And this defense, we're going to know exactly where they are, and I think that helps us as an offense. So I'm excited.
One more, and then we'll get to the fan questions. Brayden, what's your routine like right now? Right, you're an older guy. You're in online classes. Like you've talked a lot about constantly taking care of your body. There's also some real world stuff that people may not realize that players have to deal with as well. What's your typical week like right now?
Yeah, so I mean, it's Tuesday today, and for me, I think the most important thing is, being so keyed onto watching film and trying to get better. I think that the biggest thing for me is getting all my work done early on. Getting all my, in terms of work, I mean, classwork, getting all my classwork done early on. And when you're able to do that, then you can focus on watching film the back half of the week. So, and then also just taking care of your body. You can spend a little bit more time at the facility. You can go up to the facility a little bit earlier. When you've knocked out all of your schoolwork, it allows more time for a ball later on in the week. And I think that's crucial for teams that want to be championship caliber teams. Guys got to get in there and watch extra tape on their own. Guys got to get in there and recover better, and that's something that I've learned over the years, to front load the beginning of the week so that the last part of the week is nothing but ball. And you can really lock in and kind of get in that flow state, So that's kind of my routine, and or at least the week leading up routine. And I've tried to help other guys do the same thing. So I think it's a great routine. And like I said, when you can focus on all ball and just lock in on that, it'll pay dividends to you.
One of the real luxuries of online classes, of being a veteran. And I think it's a good reminder to the people out there. You guys do have class obligations still. You are still student athletes. So the fact that you can take care of your classwork early and make it all ball closer to game time is awesome. And it's a very smart plan by you. All right, let's get right to it. Fan questions brought to you by Love's Travel Stops. Visit loves.com for more information on the nation's leading travel stop network that's headquartered right here in the great state of Oklahoma. Jordan Nelson wants to know, I think I know the answer to this, but we'll get it from you. All right, who's faster, Weight Room Willie or the Gavin Freeman?
Oh, he's got me. He's got me by a long shot, man. I think it's funny. It's funny to actually hear that question because on Twitter, people were trying to dissect that play a little bit, and they were like, "Oh, Gavin was running. He's really fast, but then did you see Brayden? He was like kind of keeping up with him stride for stride." I'm not saying that I am not fast at all, but that guy's a different type of fast, So, and also I probably have about 60, probably 7 pounds on him. So that makes a difference,
It definitely
He's got track
does.
speed. He's got track speed. You got football speed. I'm sorry, Gabe. I got to know because this is the first time. Weight Room Willie. Obviously, that's you. Like, where did that come from? Like, who came up with that?
It spawned from our podcast.
Okay.
And we were talking about I think we were talking about winter workouts and how during winter workouts we had tug of war sessions. And I was telling Jay Hall about all these times about how like I was dogging everybody. Like we had like team tug of wars, and then we had like one-on-one tug of wars. I was telling him I dog everybody, nobody wants to challenge me. And I think he came when he was training, he came back for like one day and he saw it, and I dogged everybody. And he went on the pod and told everybody, it was like, "Oh yeah, my guy, he's like one of the strongest pound for pound guys, in the program." And so he just made that nickname, and it kind of stuck. People just, I don't know. Jay Hall's very convincing. So
it's funny, like on our Strengthening Oklahoma social media stuff. Whenever we put stuff out about you, it's always people commenting, like Weight Room Willie's the guy. So it's pretty great, man. Okay, one more for you. This comes from Josh S. He asks, first road trip of the season coming up. What's your go-to Friday night snack?
Wow, that's a good one. My go-to Friday night snack, man, it's changed over the years. Freshman year, it was wings. Then I switched it to PB, like a grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich, right? A cookie and some cereal. This year, it has been like we have these little like burger sliders, but I don't get too many. I just get about 2 or 3 of them. They're like the mini sliders. I get Fruity Pebbles, usually 2 of them, like the little what do you call them? Little, not boxes. But
it's like the personal size ones.
Yeah, the personal size ones. Yeah, I get 2 of those. 2 milks, and then I gotta go with a chocolate chip cookie, and that's the night before. That's the before bed snack. So that's actually a great question because a lot of people don't know that we, have snacks to get us ready for the next day, and that's actually a great question. I didn't think people knew that. So.
You just spoke to my heart with the Fruity Pebbles. That was back in the day, man. Because you go, especially at home, you go to the movie, you have dinner pregame, you go to the movie, and you come back. Coach will talk. I'm sure it's similar, and then you have a little before night snack. And Ted, Dan Cody, Lance Donnelly, and myself, we would sit down and we would have cereal. That was our jam. We would all sit around and have cereal. So, like when you said Fruity Pebbles and Lucky Charms, I'd go one of each. That was always my go-to.
We don't have Lucky Charms, but I wish we did. But yeah, Fruity Pebbles, man, got to go with it.
I've got a snack story real quick. So we hired Coach Tiff like during the middle of me being in college, right?
Right.
And she tried to take the wings away from snack. And boys, what I tell you, there was an uprising. I mean, an absolute uprising amongst the team. It was, you've never seen a group of men more upset about something. And so at that time I was a captain. I had to pull her aside and basically say, "Hey, mutiny is coming if you don't fix this."
That's actually funny that you say that. A lot of people don't understand the responsibilities that come with being a captain.
Right.
Okay. So when anything goes wrong, everybody's like, "Yeah, B. Wilson, what are you going to do about it?" I'm like, "Okay, I guess I'll go talk to him." I don't really like this. Okay, I guess I'll go talk to him. We're thinking about this. Gotta go talk to him. It's funny because I have told multiple young guys, they come in kind of, it just depends on the guy. Some are quiet, some try to, be a little bit more vocal and lead and stuff like that. Tell young guys, hey, just keep living. All right. You're gonna be a great player here. You're gonna be a captain, but don't rush it. All right. Enjoy your time as a young guy. Okay. Because this captain stuff, it's cool, but it is definitely a responsibility. And every day you have to be on 10. You can't let nothing slide. And then everybody comes to you with everything, everything that goes wrong, every question that they have. It's like babysitting 110, 20-year-olds, 18 through 22-year-olds.
So old.
Exactly. So I told the guys, I'm like, yeah, what I'm saying? Enjoy being a young guy right now. Enjoy, just enjoy it, man. You got plenty of time to lead. Don't rush that.
By the way, congratulations. Gabe was a captain. I was a captain. Captain Willis with us. There's not a finer and better honor you can have than when your teammates vote you captain, and they could not have picked a better person than you to represent them. Brayden, we could do this for hours, man. It's an absolute pleasure every time we get a chance to chat with you. Best of luck with the preparation this week, and best of luck in Lincoln, Nebraska this weekend. Can't wait till we get a chance to talk to you in October. We'll do it then, man. Great stuff as always. Thanks for the time today.
Yes, sir. Thank you, fellas.
All right, man. There you go. Thanks to Brayden for joining us. And now it's time for my man Gabe and I to break it down. Breakdown brought to you by the Oklahoma Proton Center. It's one of the top cancer centers in the region using state-of-the-art proton therapy. Oklahoma Proton Center, more than a cure, quality of life. What more can we add? The dude is fantastic and probably going to take our job very, very soon after he's done playing football. He really touched on just about everything. Love the breakdown he gave about, going back to the UTEP game, the Gavin Freeman touchdown. That was stellar. Also, just the mindset in the locker room at halftime, what adjustments were made and how they executed. I think the most important thing, at least as it is moving forward, everything he had to say about how he's looking at and treating this game. That's exactly the mindset and what needs to be talked about in that locker room. You and I talked about it the other day with Woody. This is a dangerous game. This Nebraska team is a dangerous team in that they just lost their coach. I mean, they're 1-2 right now. They could let it all fly. They got no fear. It can't get any worse. And I hate to say they're a desperate team, but they're a desperate team. And a desperate team that's got talented players can leave you in a dangerous spot. Leadership like Brayden Willis is why Oklahoma will not overlook this team and why they will prepare and treat this week the way it should be treated, like any other big game that they're going to play in. I just loved what he had to say all throughout that. And that's why that guy was voted captain, Gabe. That's why I think Oklahoma is going to be focused and going to be ready to handle their business in Lincoln this weekend.
And the defense has kind of led up to this point in the season, right? I mean, there's a debate to be said, hey, what's the strength of the team? So far, the defense has been the most consistent unit, right? Through 2 games. I know it's a small sample size, but the offense needs to come out hot in this football game.
Yep.
I mean, you can't give that crowd hope. You can't give that team hope. They need to send a message early in this game. And just hearing Brayden's mentality and kind of how the offense is thinking right now, I would assume that's exactly what's going to happen, especially Nebraska's defense just hadn't been very good. I mean, it just hadn't been very good. And I think it's an interesting combination coming into this game, right? Nebraska's defense hadn't been very good. Their confidence can't be very high. I don't care if they lost their coach, same guys calling defense. It is what it is. And then OU's offensive players, I guarantee you they've been hearing what people have been saying this week, right? What was wrong with the offense? I mean, we even asked them, hey, what went wrong in that first half? People start talking about how the defense is the strength of the team. These guys are hearing this stuff, and I think they're going to want to prove a point. I think Jeff Lebby is going to want to prove a point, right? And he is going to want to carve Nebraska up. So that's what I'm really excited about. I'm excited to see how the offense comes out early in this football game, because with the environment they're going to be in, they need to get off to a quick start. It can't be like it was against Kent State. That would create a very bad situation for Oklahoma, because Nebraska's offense isn't bad. I mean, they aren't bad. It's by far the best offense Oklahoma's played.
No question. And look, they need to get off to a hot start. Hop on the Huskers early. Like, the other thing that you want to do when a team that's kind of down and in the state that they're in is remind them, we're better than you. Hey, there's a reason you just lost your coach, and this is going to happen all game long. Don't give them early game confidence, and I think that I would have to imagine the way they started against UTEP is going to be a huge point of emphasis to get off to that kind of start in this ball game. And their first road game. This is the first road game of the Brent Venables era. So I can't wait to see what it looks like. I want to see a little bit more 12 personnel. Daniel Parker is healthy. He's a very good blocker. Brayden Willis can do a little bit of everything. He's a Swiss Army knife. He can be a blocker for you, be a pass catcher, do whatever you need him to do. Inline tight end, detached, H-back, you name it, he can kind of do it all. A jack of all trades, if you will. We haven't seen a ton of that yet. That's one thing that I would like to see a little bit more of. Some bigger personnel from Nebraska, maybe help out that offensive line a little bit, getting Daniel Parker there within the core, maybe an inline tight end. You think we see some of that this week against Nebraska? Because at some point it's coming. I know they like that personnel grouping on the field together. We haven't seen much yet. Seems like it's the right spot to potentially see some of that here this week.
Yeah, no, I think that they clearly feel really good about Brayden and Daniel Parker. We're going to see more of those guys on the field together. The question becomes, is that the proper approach against Nebraska?
Yeah.
Right. Because
wait till K-State.
When you look at their defensive personnel, and Brayden touched on it a little bit, they've got some strength and some size along the defensive line. So if you get into 12 personnel stuff, I think you can have a lot of success. But with what we've seen from the interior of Oklahoma's offensive line up to this point, you're probably better suited to attack the edges of this Nebraska defense in the run game, right? And Nelson and Mathis are both good players, but I feel better about Oklahoma's offensive tackles and their tight ends and those blocking combinations, whether it's gap schemes or zone schemes. I feel better about what we've seen from those guys so far, as opposed to what we've seen from the interior of Oklahoma's offensive line. Especially, we just got some heavy, strong dudes in the interior for Nebraska. So when you've got those types of guys, you may start getting the run game a little more lateral, right? Attack the edges with some zone stuff, some pin pull stuff. We saw, you mentioned that one back counter that kind of hit a little wider that they ran against Kent State. Maybe that makes some more sense, but you can do all of that stuff in 12 personnel. And clearly they view Parker and Brayden as two of the best players they got. So I'm sure they want to get them on the field more together.
That's what I love about when you present that personnel. You don't have to have them all in the core. You can run it on one play, not allow Nebraska to substitute. Now you can detach them, and all of a sudden, you're back in 10 personnel, right? And that's when you have position flexibility, meaning you've got players that can not only play just a true tight end, but can also either be an H-back, running back, can be maybe even a slot receiver. It makes it a little bit more difficult on opposing defenses. So we'll see. I do think, though, we're going to start to see more and more of 22 and 9 on the field at the exact same time. Just phenomenal stuff right there from our man, Brayden Willis, as it's tough to beat him. Whenever he joins us, it's about as good as it gets. I'm sure our fantastic subscribers would agree. That game's getting closer and closer, just a couple more days before we get ready to everyone gets ready to head to Lincoln, Nebraska. Big thanks to Muse Growth Strategies for continuing to help us spread the word about strengthening Oklahoma. And as we always say, and we always conclude these episodes, thanks to you guys, our subscribers, you help make this show go. You're making an impact on these players' lives. We thank you. We appreciate you. And we'll see you again next time right here on Strengthening Oklahoma.